Hello everyone, facts versus rumors, and then at the end I'm going to give you my personal insights, even if it gets me kicked out of the beta. Okay, so, there's been so much going around on the internet about Microsoft Flight Simulator. The video itself is up to almost 3 million views. I'm pretty sure that's higher than a lot of other game trailers that were announced at E3. But you know what? There's just so much swirling around this that it's kind of gotten everybody into a frenzy, I feel, at least for the first 3 days of the announcement it did. I got a lot of hate from it. People have been, sort of going and sort of like, when it comes out, oh my gosh, it's the end of P3D, an X-Plane, and then other people have just been like, hey dude, it's just a game, mate, you don't have to get worried, and there's just been so much speculation that we kind of like have lost the fact to rumor, and this video is to divide that, and we're going to represent facts only with backed up evidence, and then we'll get into the rumors that people have been speculating, okay? So the facts are that about a week and a half ago, Xbox announced the Flight Simulator, and they showed the trailer, okay, at E3. They didn't do it at the Flight Simulator Expo in Orlando, but they did it at the E3 game convention, okay? And it was Xbox, important to note that announced this, not Microsoft. Xbox, okay. Xbox is a subsidiary of Microsoft. So Xbox announced this. Now the only bit of information we have had about this is the trailer, okay, which everyone's seen. I mean, it's up to like 3 million views. We're not going to watch it again. A website that says come be an insider, get your newsletter basically, and then this site here, which is the xbox.com US Games Microsoft Flight Simulator website. So this is also official. So it says Microsoft Flight Simulator for Xbox One and Windows 10. Now the reason I'm highlighting certain words is that just remember these keywords for later when we talk later on, okay? Microsoft Flight Simulator is the next generation of one of the most beloved simulation franchises. From light planes to wide-body jets, fly highly detailed and stunning aircraft in an incredibly realistic world. Create your flight plan and fly anywhere on the planet. Enjoy flying day or night and face realistic, challenging weather conditions. Available 2020, any time between January and December. So that is literally it. And on this website, if we scroll down, we've got some pictures, which are the exact same pictures that are on the website for the Flight Simulator. Got a Game Pass logo, and that's basically it. There has been no rating. It's pending its rating, but the publisher is Xbox Game Studios, okay? Not Microsoft, Xbox, okay? And of course the platform says Xbox and Windows 10, although the genre does say simulator, okay? So these are facts which are undisputed, okay? And to be honest, that's all that has been officially announced. Now, I'm going to go through a few privy bits of information, okay? If it gets me, removed from wherever, then whatever, but, oh, no, we don't want to show that just yet. Whatever, okay? So, these are also facts as well that I'm about to go through, and then we'll hit the rumor mill, okay? So, the facts are that other developers of the flight sim community have come forward, big names like PMDG, and have stated that they were not approached in the development of this. Other ones like Orbex as well are learning it for the first time and were not approached. And they've publicly stated that, which we'll get into in a little bit. Another thing is that Microsoft Flight Simulator, this isn't the first time this has come out. Microsoft Flight Simulator has been out before. In fact, Microsoft Flight Simulator was one of the first simulators ever made, okay? It was released in 1982, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because a lot of these numbers we're going to go through are key to what you see in the trailer. Okay, and I'll get to that in a second. So 1982, the Microsoft bought the rights off a company to produce the first ever flight simulator, and they called it Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? That's what it was. And then ever since then, periodically, they have released a few, but there's one on here that actually isn't being named, which is weird, because it came out in 2012. It was called Microsoft Flight. It was by Microsoft, but it's not listed. Oh, well, then again, this is Wikipedia, okay, not facts. So, okay, take it with a pinch of salt, maybe, okay, but 2012 one should be on here, to be honest. So, Microsoft Flight Simulator, they created this whole genre of simulators, you know, and then, of course, X-Plane joined in like 2006-ish, maybe, 2004. But Microsoft Flight Simulator, you know, created what we know as Flight Simulator X, or FSX. Now, they sold the ESP, the sort of engine that creates the content. They sold that to Lockheed back in, I did put a date down, back in 2008, and in 2009, Lockheed Prepared from that same engine that created the flight simulator for Microsoft. Then in 2013, Microsoft sold the brand of FSX to Dovetail, okay? And then Dovetail sort of rebranded it into FSX Steam Edition and got rights with Steam to distribute it. And it's still available today. You can go buy it. I think it's like 25 quid. It's the FSX Steam Edition. And that's from Dovetail, though, not Microsoft, Dovetail. And they even created their own version in 2015 called FSW, Flight Sim World. And they released that, and that had like a year in beta, and then it went to, in alpha, and then it went to beta. I got it myself, 25 quid, I think it was. I used it. It had great support, you know, from developers, like Orbex did the landscape. There was Aerosoft did the planes. There was a lot of developers doing things for it. The community bought it and supported it. There's a few haters. A few people said, like, this is rubbish. This is more like, you know, FS 2000 more than a serious sim. But at the end of the day, it did have the highest level of fidelity models available on the market. And the Dovetail team then, like 2016, I think it was, they shut it down and stopped selling it. Or no, 2018, they ended development of it, okay? It came out in 2017, sorry. As you can see here, yeah, 2017, and then a year later, 2018, died, okay? So it's like, okay. And as you can see, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and you know, had released since 1982. Like 1999 came Flight Sim 2000, but there is one here that is a key one, which is Microsoft Flight Simulator 4.0, right? And the reason I mention this one is because 4.0 is the last time that the way they made it, the way that they had it, right? This was the last version, okay? So if you think of it like, you know, from version 1.0 to 4.0, they were all done the same way. And then version 5 became the new way. This was the first version to start using textures, which gave a higher level of realism, okay? So in 1989, okay, was the last time that Microsoft, it was like their end of phase 1, and then 1993 phase 2, okay, and then in 2000 phase 3, and then in, I guess, 2012 phase 4, and this would be like their phase 5, I guess, or, you know, their new Microsoft Flight Simulator. Why am I mentioning any of this? Well, in the trailer, if you look, go back and watch it, there are hints to all this past development. There are slight nods, okay? People have noticed, and if we go on, I think it's an Aerosoft website. Oh, by the way, Aerosoft have said we have absolutely nothing to comment or say about this, okay? This dude who is the Aerosoft forum administrator, he has said, we as Aerosoft have nothing to comment or say about this, okay? They are the only developer who has stated that comment. Every other developer has gone, this is the first time we're hearing about it. We'll come back to that one, okay? So, people have noticed, and this is something I noticed the moment I saw the video, is that the tail numbers, okay, in a lot of these videos have the registration ASMGS, and it even has states on this website that they believe that the code is Microsoft Game Studios. Yeah, okay. And then, like, what does the AS stand for? Does it stand for Aerosoft? Or does it stand for Asus, which was a company that created the original Microsoft Flight Simulator? It doesn't really matter. What does matter is these numbers, okay? All the numbers. Now, I've logged every number, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them that appear in the video. There's 24, 99, 14, 12, 8, 89, 7, okay? And 24 and 14 repeat twice. Right, well, for me, I believe, and now this is my personal opinion, okay? And this is where we're going into Rumorville, okay? This is my personal opinion that all these numbers relate to a production build of the flight simulator, the code, okay? So we've got 24, which can be classed as 2004, when we had a century of flight, the 100th anniversary of the Wright brothers flying their aircraft, and when Microsoft released this sim which celebrated a century of flight. So 2004, 24. Another one is 99. Now 1999 was the year that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2000 came out, which was the first of its kind in terms of the current way like FSX is made. Flight Simulator 2000 was the first of its kind to do that, okay? Virtual cockpit textures and all that. Actually, Virtual Cockpit wasn't included in that, came out in 2004, I believe. Then we have number 14, okay? Well, what's number 14? Well, 2014, okay, is the year that Dovetail brought out the Steam Edition, okay? That they re-released it, rebranded it for Steam, okay? 12 is another number in the registration. Well, 2012, as everybody knows, is when Microsoft Flight, which I don't think there's any information about it here, when Microsoft Flight came out, okay? It released in 2012, and then literally a year later got cancelled for a reason, okay? There was a number 8 plane in the video, okay? Now that was 2008 was the year that prepared, or that Lockheed Martin bought the ESP engine and made a contract with Microsoft that they would buy to develop a new flight sim for themselves. That was released a year later in 2009. The number 89 as well appears in the video, an aircraft, and that's when the last iteration of the original code was released, Microsoft Flight Simulator 4.0. And number 7 appears in the video as well. Now number 7 is a bit of an oddity because that's the year that the acceleration pack came out for Flight Simulator X. It's not the year FSX came out, which was a year previously, but the acceleration pack. Now the reason it's probably noteworthy is that in actual fact, it was like a new version. It had a new rating on it, okay? It was a 10 plus rating instead of having that E for everyone rating. It include more planes, it include streamlined performance. So one could say that the acceleration version and then the normal standard version are actually two different games altogether. And Microsoft has sort of made a claim that the FSX are games and not simulators. They've treated them like games, perhaps more so. But that the acceleration version of FSX is an entirely new one. And so that came out in 2007. So the numbers of the aircraft, I believe, just denote landmarks within the history of Microsoft Flight Simulator, okay? So that for me is my take from them videos. Now, let's go back to Factville and let's see what other people have been saying. What is fact is the website itself for MicrosoftStudios.com, Flight Simulator Insider, is that there isn't a lot on there, to be honest. You can sign up to be an insider, which is a fancy way of saying, here's the newsletter. You know, we'll let you know when key things happen within, you know, the development of this, and when it launches, you'll find out first. And it also invites you to go forth to join up to the beta as well. The insider, I mean, there's no information here. This is basically it. That same statement we saw before is repeated here, and I want to pick apart this statement now, because the key, I believe, to what this will become can be seen on this page right now. Okay, so I stated first that you guys haven't got anything to worry about, that it's not a full study sim, it's just a game. The reason is because it's being released by Xbox Game Studios, and it's being released through the Xbox Game Pass, okay, which is all shown on the websites, okay. That to me shows that it's not a full study sim. Yes, you can get Game Pass for the PC, okay, but you get it for the console to be used with controllers, right? When you play Xbox Game Pass on your PC, you plug in the Xbox controller. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be support for proper controllers, but I'm just saying the intention is for you to use the controller with this product, because it's coming out on both Windows 10 and the Xbox One, okay? That's what they've stated on the website, Xbox One, okay? Here we are, down here, Xbox and Windows 10. Okay, it doesn't say Scarlet. It doesn't say this is going to be available for Scarlet. It says coming to Xbox One and Windows 10, the current version. So this, again, it starts to flake away what kind of simulator you're going to get. So it says Microsoft Flight Simulator is the next generation. Well, that's true. From what we've seen in the video, it's the next iteration of flight simulation. Okay, doesn't mean it's the best, and doesn't mean it's the most intensive in terms of study level, okay, but it is the next evolution, okay, and it is of the most beloved simulation franchises. It has a massive support for the community. From light planes to wide body jets, everything which we see in the trailer, okay, fly highly detailed and stunning aircraft in an incredibly realistic world. Now, that statement alone tells you exactly what you're going to get. You're not going to get study level sim aircraft. You're getting highly detailed and stunning aircraft, okay? Which means they're going to be visually appealing. They're going to be visually beautiful, like you see in the video, you know? Does not mean they're going to be study level sims, okay? And incredibly realistic world. Well, guess what, guys? I got a big shock for you. I am running the world right now on my computer in the background for Flight Simulator, okay? And I'm going to show you at the end of the video, okay? So we'll come back to that. And that's the incredibly realistic world, trust me. It is realistic, you know? It's the most realistic we've seen in flight simulation. So watch at the end of the video. Now, for this website, Insider FAQ, that's the only bit of text that you see, and it just talks about the Insider program, how to get on the beta team, and stuff like that. Things you have to do, and you'll only know if you're going to be considered for the beta team if you can log in to your profile up here, which I've just shown my username to everybody. Okay, so that's how you'll know if you're now going to be considered. You know, and there are things you have to have. You have to have a Microsoft account. We've gone through this. There's a video. Go check it out. Now, other developers, what have they said? Well, there's been a movement in recent sort of times. You know, like this. Where is it? Lefteris Calamaris. That's a gentleman, I guess, who works at FS Labs. Now, they've made a statement that they are moving away from the 32-bit sim, okay? So they are abandoning FSX and prepared version 3 and anything below that. There is no more support, or you can't even buy the 32-bit products through their new way of selling it, which is called FastSpring. They're shutting down eSeller rate. and they are opening it up with fast spring, which means they are supporting just only 64-bit products. And that's a real big, like, ooh, because FSX is still probably one of the biggest shareholders of flight simmers out there today. You know, P3D X-Plane, you know, they don't have as much community as FSX. There's a lot of people still using FSX, but the developers now are moving away. Even Orbex have stated that they will, moving forward into version 4, not be supporting FSX 32-bit systems, and that it will be totally 64-bit. So there is like a shift now to sort of the cattle, as it were, is moving forward, leaving the farm behind, okay? PMDG as well has stated, or the gentleman who is the administrator, at least, for PMDG, Mr. Robert Ran, and I know a lot of people have already read this, okay, so I'm not going to read it all, you know, but he basically states a few key things to notice in here, okay, that they wanted to lay their own sort of statement down for Microsoft's announcing, and that one really was that Microsoft did not come to PMDG with, yo, by the way, guys, we're gonna release this. Do you want to do the airplanes for it? You know, they did not work with PMDG at all. You know, he's gone on to say is, as of this writing, this is what PMDG knows as facts and as part of their intelligence gathering. You know, that Microsoft has been working on this title for a while using the Microsoft Flight Sim name. And it's been kept under wraps. None of the firms which they've been in contact with, so they've contacted other developers and gone, guys, you know, what do you know about this? You know, have they told you about it? Have they contacted you? And they've gone, no, we don't know. And so basically nobody has had direct communication with Microsoft about this title. So in other words, these guys have been left out in the dark completely. One of the biggest names in flight sim, right, that create the highest quality aircraft, Microsoft have gone, nah, you're not our customer. You're not the type of person we want to do business with for this title. We'll come back to that statement in a second, okay? There were rumors about the title a few months back, but they evaporated. Now, this is what PMDG has personally witnessed in the history with Microsoft, okay? That in 2005, Microsoft began to explore how to monetize for themselves the market, but they weren't that successful. They wanted multiple leadership. MS Flight, Microsoft Flight, which was released in 2012, was the ultimate effort, was their leading effort to monetize the market and ask developers, or force them, as PMG claim, to work solely through their marketplace. So guys, if you're gonna work with us, you're not working with anybody else. You can't work with, you know, X-Plane or Prepared or anything like that. It's just us. And they developed license restrictions, right, that would move people towards a subscription-based model. We'll come back to that one as well in a second. It ultimately failed. A year later, Microsoft Flight was no longer available. It was, you know, like they said, it was poorly timed to the market and it failed to deliver a good flying experience. And PMDG was involved in an effort to purchase the rights to continue developing the core of the code for Microsoft Flight Simulator, along with some partners. Now, this is that when we went back and talked about the bidding for the engine or the brand, PMDG was like, yeah, we'll have some of that, mate. But unfortunately, it was Dovetail that won this war. PMG lost that war. And so one of the things that probably was in the contract was, it said here, we learned during this effort that Microsoft would insist that it had the right to recapture any development done within their core code if they were to decide we want to go back into the marketplace. We just take back what you done, okay? Which made the purchase for PMDG, you know what, we don't want to have anything to do with this because it means that whatever hardware we put in, you're going to own it all in the end. So they were like, we want to own everything ourselves, which is good, you know, keep your independence, well done PMDG, and they walked away, leaving Dovetail to scoop up everything, right? Which of course they tried to do with Microsoft, which they did with Flight Sim World. They created Flight Sim World. You know, it was a basic core program, and then it had add-ons that you purchase. It was done through Steam, so it's all about the money. And you would buy your add-ons through the Steam. And yes, you could put in, if you knew how to cleverly, you know, code your own add-ons, but it probably wouldn't work, you know. Now, PMDG have stated that they're just going to sit back and wait and see what happens. They're not making any claims of anything, but they are with us. They are with the community, as in they know as much as we do, okay? Now, that's PMDG. Now, Orbex have also stated pretty much the same thing, that they found out about this announcement at the Expo when it launched. They didn't have any prior knowledge. They weren't contacted going, guys, can you provide the landscape for this? Okay, that didn't happen. But Aerosoft have stated, we have absolutely nothing to comment about or say about this. Okay, now, I don't know about you, but that's the kind of comment you make when you don't want to talk about something, you know? If they were not involved, they would just simply state, like PMDG or Orbex done, we're not involved, mate. No, we're not involved. But they've said, yeah, we don't want to comment. Okay, to me, that suggests you're unable to speak, that you're involved to a degree and unable to speak. Now, this is now speculation. We're heading into rumor territory now, okay? But if you look at the Aerosoft website, check it out. They support almost every simulator here. They've got Aerofly FS2, 2004, Flight Simulator 2004, really? Flight Simulator Steam and the X. They do the X-Plane 10, the 11, prepared versions 1 to 4. I mean, my gosh, they support everybody and their granny, right? But they do simulation games. They do police and rescue simulation. They do bus and truck simulation. They do train simulation, and they do flight simulation. They simulate everything by the looks of it. Their page is aimed for simulation, right? And I've got to say, they also announce that on their news page, which I'll just refresh so it's current, there is absolutely no mention of the Microsoft launch at all. Like, FS Elite, who is a news website, they've announced this Microsoft trailer launch. PMDG have announced it in their forums. Aerosoft have not said a single thing on their website about this, which is weird, don't you think? Somebody who is so into simulation doesn't announce anything of a particular flight sim. We'll come back to that one. Looking at their partners now, okay, if you go through their partner page, this is everybody Aerosoft partners with. Microsoft is nowhere to be found on here. Xbox is nowhere to be found on here. Anything to do with Microsoft Studios isn't anything to do with here. Now, I find that a bit weird in the fact that they have flight simulation stuff aimed for FSX and Flight Simulator 2004, and yet they're not partnered with Microsoft. Bullshit! I smell a bit of BS here. Like, I smell a bit of a cover-up. Like, they work with everybody by the looks of it, but they don't work with the main simulator developer who created flight simulation. You know what I mean? Back in the day. But yet they still work with their stuff. It's like, I don't think that they're allowed to say that they're partnered with Microsoft. Because they're partnered with Laminar Research. They're partnered with Lockheed Martin. But they're not partnered with Microsoft? Okay. We'll come back to that again. Another thing as well is that they say here, where is it? Oh, this one here. In their commercial use section, products of Aerosoft have reached a realistic standard to be used in commercial and professional simulation environments. As a specialist in development, modeling and marketing of highly realistic terrain and geodata, Aerosoft offers high-end graphics solutions for professional simulators. Now, this is the important bit. Our 3D models are being used in commercial, full-motion simulators, flight safety centers, and flight schools. Oh, I've never seen that on PMDG website. I've never seen any other plane developer make that statement, that basically our 3D models are the best, guys, and they're official, you know? I've never really, like, PMDG have claimed that they're study level sims, but not that they basically can be used in commercial full motion simulators or flight schools. Like, okay, now this is a picture of a flight deck system, okay, and it's it's an A320, but it's from the company Flight Deck. So this is an actual real life simulator, okay? It's an A320 real simulator, but it just reminds me too much of that shot from the video where you see the inside of an A320. And it just, to me, like, you know, this cockpit was made off an A320, as probably this one was, but to me it puts it in my head that, well, maybe Aerosoft are providing the models for Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's a total rumor, guys. That's my opinion. There's no facts for that, only of what I've just shown you. Okay. Oh, I deleted the video. Oh well, I was gonna have it running in the background, but never mind. Okay, so there's that. The only other simulator that they've got showing on their website is a work in progress Collider simulator, which the pictures are okay, but I'd be quite interested to see what this is. Like, in fact, let's check it out, shall we? Let's see what it is. Like, I mean, this looks basic. This does, doesn't it? Let's get it up in the air. Let's see the terrain. Yeah, that terrain is like FSX, so yeah, that's nothing like what Microsoft Flight Simulator is using. I can tell you that for a fact now. Okay, so all their add-ons, this is everything they support. These are all their simulator things and all their add-ons. They have loads. Aerosoft. My personal opinion, I believe Aerosoft are working in conjunction with Microsoft, and in the video, that's what the AS stands for. Aerosoft with Microsoft Game Studios, and then their tail numbers are just numbers of past launches of the builds. Now, that is total rumor. They are my thoughts, and that is all based on what we've been talking about. Now, here we go. Here are some facts from the inside. Microsoft Flight Simulator is a game, okay? It's being released on Game Pass. The pricing for Microsoft Flight Simulator will be based on the subscription you have for Game Pass, and that you will, like Steam, basically, you will pay for the subscription to play free games, but then also there will be games inside of that you will probably need to pay for, or add-ons that you need to purchase. It will be add-on purchases that perhaps you buy for your flight simulator. Like FS World had a core set of planes, but then you purchased others to go in, you know. Even Microsoft Flight, which basically I feel is just what this core model is, had a basic thing, and then you bought and purchased more and it installed it in. Now, the world for Microsoft Flight, it didn't sit on your hard drive. You didn't install it into your computer. It was downloaded from servers and you streamed it, and that's how it developed the world. Now, I believe that Microsoft Flight Simulator is doing exactly the same thing. In fact, here is what I believe is their latest world builder for Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is this, right? Google Earth, right? This is basically what I believe you will be flying in, but a more highly detailed version of it, okay? Like if you zoom in, it's like, this looks pretty cool. Like imagine this as a flight simulator. I mean, you'd be like, yeah, this is pretty cool because it's highly detailed. I mean, look at the detail on this. Look, this is better than any simulator available on the market at the moment. You can see, look, you can see the individual to scale patterns on the roads for traffic, you can see into these windows effectively. Some are open, or some are got things in, some are half open, some are the blinds are closed or whatever. But imagine this as your simulator. I mean, hello. This is basically what I feel Microsoft Flight Simulator's world is for. Now you guys are all going, what? Get the you guys are all, in the comments going, you're talking out of your ass. Well, let me throw a couple of pictures at you. This is from the trailer, okay? This video is from the trailer, okay? This still picture. And just notice this area here. You notice that these hedges are going up, right? And the reason they go up is because that is data taken from a source. And when you look at it at different perspectives, it creates this stretching appeal to it. Now, here is a picture of Google Earth from a very similar perspective, okay? And you'll see that there is also that same effect. In fact, the trees here are very similar to the trees here. In fact, this location here, right, is very similar. Well, it is this location, but it's also very similar to what you see in this image. Like, this is Google Earth, obviously, okay, and this here is the actual sim. Now, of course, this looks better, more refined. It's a raw data, probably. It's probably the original, source of it, rather than this little thing which is being run off my computer. So it can only be as good as my graphics card will allow it to be. But imagine if this was your latest simulator and you're flying along here, okay, and that's it. Like, imagine now if this was your world here. So we're flying over in a jet now, at how 35,000 feet now. And it's like, this is the world you would see below. And even if we zoomed in, I mean, this is like mega scenery Earth scale. This is basically what they call LIDAR radar information, okay? And it's all about light detection and ranging, okay, which is taken to examine the Earth, right? And it's that information that I believe is being used to create the information, empty my bin there, the information in the sim, okay? That's what I believe, that Microsoft Flight Simulator, okay? So let's get into the rumor mill now. Let's get into the speculation now. People have been saying, is it a game or is it a study level sim? Well, based on everything I've just shown you, I personally believe it's just a game, and it's going to come out through Xbox Game Pass, and it's going to have a subscription-based purchase, which means you're going to be paying monthly for it, or you're going to be paying a one-off fee a month for it, and then get free things put in, or you're going to get to purchase your access to it, but then you have to pay for everything else. It's got no third-party support for your existing add-ons for Prepared or X-Plane, because no developers, apart from perhaps maybe Aerosoft, have been approached, by Microsoft. No one's actually said, oh yeah, they're using our land class data, they're using our global base data, like Orbix did with Flight Sim World. No one's come forth and said that. In fact, they've said they've not come to us at all. Do you know why they've not come to us? Because they're not making a flight simulator as we know it. They're not making a study level sim. They're making a game, and they're making it using Google data. Okay, so they're partnered with Google, not Orbex, not Mega Scenery Earth. Okay, partnered with Google, right? And they're going to create like a game, like in the vein of Flight Sim World, but instead it's going to be more aimed at people who enjoy the visual candy of flight simulation and want to learn how to basically fly a plane, but not to the point of, I could put this in an actual real plane and still know how to fly it. It's not that type, because at the end of the day, it's going to be with a controller. On your PC, you may be able to use your keyboard, your mouse, maybe peripherals, but it's going to be mainly a controller. So you're going to get the feeling of being a pilot and flying to any destination in highly detailed planes, but you ain't going to be learning how to fly a 747, okay, to a level that you can in a flight simulator. Okay, so this is how, like, everything I've just said, by the way, is just a reiteration of what I said in my first video after I viewed it. I then went on the internet, I researched a few things. That's what I said back then. So for everybody who's gone like, you're full of shit, man, I've just shown you where I got all my sources from. I've just shown you everything where I've seen, and a couple of things I've seen in the past couple of days. But at the end of the day, I don't have any worry for P3D or X-Plane. Well, maybe X-Plane, but P3D will be fine because that's a study level sim like X-Plane, whereas Microsoft Flight Simulator is purely just a game. It's being advertised as a game, even though it's a simulator. It's being launched with Game Pass, through Game Pass, okay? And yeah, it's totally, guys, nothing to worry about. Like, people are going ape in forums and stuff like that, and it's like, dude, just chill out. Let's see what happens when it launches. Let's just see, you know, and let's not sort of try and second guess what Microsoft are doing. Let's just get on involved with what we're doing, which is flying, man, which is what I'm about to do now. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you know, this is what we know as of June the 18th, guys. This is everything we know. You know, all the developers bar Aerosoft are basically saying we weren't approached for the development of this. You know, if they're being approached now, who knows, but they weren't in the past. And from what it sounds like, it's been in the works perhaps even since 2012, 2013, perhaps even later than that, 2015. I believe Dovetail also perhaps have something to do with this in some way or another, but that's just a rumor. I don't know that for a fact. And yeah, and please don't mention the beta in the comments, because I won't be commenting or mentioning the beta. Yeah, I'll see you guys on the inside. Take care. Bye.